In this video, I will share motivational quotes that will help you quit adult content forever, so let's go! The first quote is by the famous Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson. I don't believe anyone feels a better human being after using porn for sexual gratification. The fact that you're watching two people having sex, one of whom isn't you, implies something about your desirability. I think this explains why adult content creates so much shame. It basically implies that you are undesirable and that you don't deserve to be with the women you like. The second quote is by Napoleon Hill, who is the author of the self-help classic Think and Grow Rich. Sex desire is the most powerful of human desires. When driven by this desire, men develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability unknown to them at other times. This quote explains the superpowers most men report during their NoFap journey. Sexual energy is very powerful and it impacts positively multiple areas of our lives. The third quote comes from Dandapani, who is a Hindu monk. This is not a literal quote, but I will paraphrase his views on sexual behavior. Dandapani explains that monks were celibate because they want to conserve their energy to channel it into their spiritual pursuits. He doesn't label sexual behavior as good or bad, he simply says that too much of it will deplete your energy. I talked more about this idea in this video. I will leave the link in the description so you can check it out after watching this one. The fourth quote is from the spiritual leader Dalai Lama. Sexual pleasure, sexual desire, actually I think is short-period satisfaction, and often that leads to more complication. This quote refers to the dangers of being addicted to impulsive pleasure. This compulsive need to satisfy your desires in the present moment at the cost of your future is the reason why so many men never fulfill their potential. The fifth quote is from the British writer C.S. Lewis. For me, the real evil of masturbation would be that it sends the man back into the prison of himself, there to keep a harem of imaginary brides. This harem is always accessible, always subservient, calls for no sacrifice or judgments, and can be endowed with erotic and psychological attractions which no real woman can rival. Among those brides, he is always adored, always the perfect lover, no demand is made on his unselfishness, no mortification ever imposed on his vanity. In the end, they become merely the medium through which he increasingly adores himself. This quote explains how PMO makes you selfish, and this is never good for your overall life. If you're always thinking what will you gain from something or from someone, you will have a very difficult time in your life because no one likes selfish people. Brother, over the past couple of months, I've been talking to Josh Hudson, who is a certified therapist specialized in adult content addiction. Josh has more than 10,000 hours of practice helping men overcome their addiction to adult content. That's why today I want to invite you to the free training that he is hosting, in which he will teach you how to quit adult content in just 7 days. This sounds amazing, right? You can do it by simply clicking the link below this video and signing up to watch the free training. The sixth quote comes from Kristen Brennan, who is Steve Jobs' ex-girlfriend. Our birth control method up to that point was Steve's coitus interruptus, also called the pull-out method, which for him was about conserving his energy for work. Steve didn't want to have an orgasm because he wanted to build power and wealth by conserving one's vital energies. We all have felt exhausted after a PMO session, and you know that this affects the quality of your studies and work. Everyone knows it, and it seems that everyone wants to ignore it, but the fact is that even Steve Jobs knew that PMO will leave you exhausted. The seventh quote is from the Indian mystic Sadhguru. Sexual desires are biological needs, and they are fine, but they should be in the periphery of your life, not at the core of it, because it will reduce you to animal intelligence that only knows biological needs. Human intelligence has a consciousness that goes beyond its biological needs. Human body has biological needs, you must address them, but to what extent? It's your choice, but it should not be the core of your life. Don't put your biology in the front, put your intelligence and consciousness in the front. At the end of the day, your sexual desires are another form of an animal desire like hunger, thirst, etc. There's no need to ignore them, you should pay attention to them, but they should never control your life. Instead, you should control your desires. That's what this big brain is for. The 8th quote is from Olympian boxing coach Harry Wiley when asked about Muhammad Ali, who was one of the greatest boxers of all time. There's a kid named Muhammad Ali. If you bet on him every time he fights, you'll be a rich man because he won't lose a single fight. I believe his thing is sexual control. Any kid who can control it can win the title. I believe it. This quote can be interpreted in multiple ways, but I like to see it as Muhammad Ali's ability to delay gratification. He knew that to win titles and be the greatest boxer of all time, he needed to conserve his energy, even though that meant staying away from sex and masturbation for a while. The 9th quote comes from Stephen T. Chang, who is a master of Taoist philosophy. When the average male climaxes, he loses about 1 tablespoon of semen. According to scientific research, the nutritional value of this amount of semen is equal to that of 2 pieces of New York steak, 10 eggs, 6 oranges, and 2 lemons combined. This includes proteins, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, everything. Climax is often called coming. The precise word for it should be going, because everything, the erection, vital energy, millions of live sperm, hormones, nutrients, even a little of the man's personality goes away. It is a great sacrifice for the man, spiritually, mentally, and physically. This quote speaks about the impact PMO has at all levels in the body. Let's not label PMO as good or bad, but let's realize that too much of it affects your body and personality in multiple ways. Brother, and if you can't quit adult content by yourself, it's fine to ask for help and look for resources to help you quit adult content. That's why I'm a huge proponent of using a porn blocker like Covenant Eyes. Covenant Eyes is currently helping millions of men overcome their addiction to adult content, and fortunately for you, I've partnered with Covenant Eyes, which is the world's best adult content blocker. Simply click the link in the description and use promo code IMPROVEMENT to get a 30-day free trial to Covenant Eyes. So make sure to do that right now. The 10th quote comes from American rapper Kanye West. People ask me a lot about my drive. I think it comes from like having a sexual addiction at a really young age. Look at the drive that people have to get sex, to dress like this and get a haircut and be in the club in the freezing cold at 3 AM, the places they go to pick up a girl. If you can focus the energy into something valuable, put that into work ethic. This quote talks about transmuting your sexual energy into a productive endeavor. Just imagine, what could you have done if you had invested all the time and energy you spent watching porn and masturbating into something better like a side business, a new career, or gaining new skills? I have a bonus quote from a monk called Bhakti Vikasa Swami. Determination, optimism, confidence, willpower, fixed intelligence, noble character, photographic memory, and shining good health are all fruits of conserved semen. These things have been reported by thousands of men who have quit PMO. Why? Because it's a fact that compulsive PMO hurts your body in multiple ways.